when we start just talking, when we focus on the things that are sometimes more enjoyable, or we just think of, we just naturally, are drawn to as parts of our job. Yeah, that's not necessarily the things that a lot of those folks care about, and that's part of being that contemporary marketer, being aware of the way that we convey our value is absolutely one of the main reasons why we succeed or don't.
Well, that's a great point, and traditionally, and I was in the same boat. I wasted a lot of money in companies throughout my career thinking that it was the right thing, and in many instances, tactically focused. Oftentimes, when marketers speak about their work, it's tactical. These are how many click-throughs, or these are how many views, or these are how many page views, these are how many ads. It's a tactical conversation. We have to help organizations and within the marketing team speak the language of the C-suite. Talk about expected net revenue, talk about contribution margin, talk about share of wallet. All of those kinds of things that conversation has to emerge. The consumer conversation has to emerge. What is the economic value of loyalty in your organization? What's the lifetime purchase value of an individual consumer worth to your hospital system over a 20-year period? We can find out. Sometimes the calculations are difficult, but that's why we need to continue to build bridges with finance. We need to continue to build bridges with chief information officer. We have to be working together. This collaboration, this triad now, I think, is incredibly valuable. We need to know, we need to speak the economic language so that your goal as the vice president of marketing should be to have finance come to your office and say, we need to give you more money because you're really growing this business and obviously proving it. So how do we up your budget next year? How do we up your investment strategy next year? That's the goal. We need IT coming to you saying, what data do you need? How do you paint this picture? Because as you and I have talked a lot about, there is much more economic value in the relationship than there is in the incident procedure. And so we have to help our organizations see the value of this economic relationship and how do we fuel that. Marketing has to move from being seen as an expense to being seen as an asset. And assets need to be fueled. Assets need to be cultured. Assets need to be tended to, just like buildings. We have to help our organization see that we are an economic asset in this company.
I think you're right, and just the focus on tactical, like you were just saying, that is such a part of our day-to-day as marketers, and so we have to be involved in that world. We have to be entrenched in that, and those are the weeds that we get lost in sometimes, and then we can wonder why that's not resonating, or why when we pitch our budget, instead of, like you said, show this as an investment, we wonder why it's not so successful. So I feel like that being part of this whole thought of how to be a contemporary marketer, right? There's a couple pieces to it, and as we've discussed, we both seem to be in the same place here. The first part is what we were just discussing, understanding the way that we present ourselves and our value. That first off, we have to believe that that's the value that we bring, instead of just being the pretty thing producers, as I've heard say, or just the party planners. 4 Ps. Those are not the Ps we're talking about. So you think about that. And a lot of times we're just not aware of that. We are so involved in the day-to-day. And then the second part is, how do we represent that both internally and externally? If we fully believe that we have that as our role, then we have to be able to take a step back and look at really what we're all about. And that will reflect itself in updating and refreshing our brand, which more often than not happens digitally these days, and so that reflects in our digital content, and that reflects in those tactics.
Yes.
But we don't start with the tactics. It has to come from up here, and then it manifests itself. And so these are all these pieces to this puzzle that sometimes we're not getting in the right spot here to actually see the big picture.